So, have you ever looked at a stock like Eli Lilly just take off and you think to yourself, wow, I completely missed the boat on that one? Well, today we're going to dig into an analysis from the Motley Fool that looks right past those giants and asks a really interesting question. Who could be next? We're going to break down two smaller biotech companies, and each one has a massive potential catalyst just over the horizon that could make them the next big story.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll set the stage with what we're calling the trillion-dollar benchmark. Then it's time to meet the challengers. After that, we'll dive deep into Viking's quest in the weight loss game, and then check out Abivax's really innovative approach to autoimmune disease. And to wrap it all up, we have to talk about the big risk factor.
Okay, so to really get what these smaller companies are chasing, you first have to understand the just sheer scale of the success they're trying to copy. And that means we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Eli Lilly.
You know that feeling, right? That little bit of FOMO when you see a stock chart that's just gone completely vertical. For so many people looking at the healthcare space, Eli Lilly has been that stock for the last decade.
And this is exactly why. At its peak, the company's value soared past $1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. It is an absolutely mind-boggling figure that basically reshaped the entire industry and set a whole new standard for what's even possible.
Yeah, this wasn't just a good run. We're talking about a performance that just left everything else in the dust, making Eli Lilly the single largest healthcare company on the entire planet. And it's that kind of incredible success that has investors always looking for the next company that could even come close to following that path.
Which of course brings us to our two challengers. The article we're looking at today zeroes in on two clinical stage biotechs. Now they're much smaller, way riskier, but they've got people's attention because of their huge goals and these major upcoming milestones. Let's meet Viking Therapeutics and Abivax.
So let's put them up side by side real quick. On one hand, you've got Viking Therapeutics, and they're diving into that red-hot weight loss market. On the other hand, there's Abivax, taking on the really complex world of autoimmune diseases. They're in totally different fields, but they share one absolutely critical thing, a single upcoming event that could literally make or break them.
First up, let's talk about Viking Therapeutics. And talk about ambition. They are wading directly into the territory dominated by none other than Eli Lilly, trying to carve out their own slice of that multi-billion-dollar weight loss pie.
Okay, so their main horse in this race is called VK2735. It's what's known as a dual GLP-1/GIP agonist. Now, what does that even mean? Well, simply put, GLP-1 and GIP are hormones that your body already makes that help control your blood sugar and, most importantly, make you feel full. If that sounds familiar, it should. It's the exact same mechanism used by Eli Lilly's blockbuster, Zepbound. So Viking is basically using a very similar key to try and unlock the same powerful results.
So you might be asking, how does a smaller fish even think about competing with a shark like that? Well, their whole strategy, which is based on some really strong Phase 2 results, has a few key angles. They're not just trying to copy success, they want to make it better. They're working on an oral pill, which would be a total game changer for convenience, and they're testing out different dosing schedules to find the absolute best way to help people keep the weight off for good.
All right, so let's shift gears completely. Let's move away from weight loss and talk about our second company, Abivax. Now, these guys are not following in anyone's footsteps. Nope. They are blazing a totally new trail to treat some really complex autoimmune conditions, like ulcerative colitis.
Their lead drug candidate is called Obefazimod. And yep, it is also entering a crowded space where giants like, you guessed it, Eli Lilly already compete. But here's the kicker. The keyword is novel. Abivax thinks it's found a fundamentally different, and maybe even better, way to help patients.
And their unique approach is really compelling. You see, a lot of current treatments are kind of like a sledgehammer. They work by just suppressing your entire immune system. Now, that can help with the symptoms, but it also leaves you vulnerable to all sorts of other illnesses. Abivax's innovation is designed to be more like a smart thermostat. It tries to regulate the specific problem that's causing the symptoms without shutting down your body's entire defense system.
So, we've seen all this incredible potential, right? A new weight loss drug, a whole new way to treat autoimmune disease. But, and this is a huge but, the Motley Fool article is crystal clear that this potential comes with a massive dose of reality. And that, my friends, is the huge risk involved.
The whole reason anyone's even talking about these companies boils down to these two future dates. For Abivax, the big day is when they release data from their maintenance study, which should be in the second quarter of 2026. For Viking, everything hinges on the results from their phase 3 weight loss study expected by 2027. These are not just dates on a calendar, they are do-or-die moments for both of them.
I mean it when I say these two events are everything. Good data could unlock billions in value and send these stocks to the moon. But bad data, or even just so-so data, it could be absolutely devastating, wiping out most of the company's value literally overnight.
And look, the author of the article does not mince words at all. This quote really says it all. A clinical setback here will crush the stock. This is not your typical investment. The outcome is pretty much binary. It's either going to be a massive win or a complete disaster. There's very, very little middle ground when you're talking about clinical stage biotech.
And that brings us right to the final critical question that this whole analysis leaves us with. When you're looking at companies like Viking and Abivax, with their incredible game-changing potential, but these all-or-nothing clinical trials, does that potential reward really truly outweigh the huge risk of failure? That's the multi-billion-dollar question that investors have to figure out for themselves.